Connecting via private endpoint is a secure way to access resources in a virtual network without exposing them to the public internet. This guide will walk you through the steps to connect via private endpoint. First, understand the key concepts involved. A private endpoint is a network interface that connects a virtual network to a service, such as a database or storage account, using a private IP address. This allows you to access the service from within the virtual network without going through the public internet. To connect via private endpoint, start by creating a virtual network and a subnet. The subnet will be used to host the private endpoint. Next, create the private endpoint itself, specifying the service you want to connect to in the subnet you created. You will also need to specify the private IP address that will be used to connect to the service. Once the private endpoint is created, you need to approve the connection. This involves granting permission for the virtual network to connect to the service. You can do this by going to the service and approving the private endpoint connection. After the connection is approved, you can access the service from within the virtual network using the private IP address of the private endpoint. This provides a secure and private connection to the service, without exposing it to the public internet. Best practices for connecting via private endpoint include using a secure subnet, limiting access to the virtual network, and monitoring the private endpoint connection for any security issues. It is also important to ensure that the service you are connecting to supports private endpoints, and that you have the necessary permissions to create and manage private endpoints. In summary, connecting via private endpoint is a secure way to access resources in a virtual network without exposing them to the public internet. By following these steps and best practices, you can create a secure and private connection to services, such as databases and storage accounts, and improve the overall security of your virtual network.